endorse the ongoing.
Hey guys, so it's Keith Williams Explains back here for another classic video. I've already talked about the switchover, so I was just listening to LBC and they were talking about the news programmes and other things. But today I'm going to be talking about the switchover from DAB to DAB+. Now that's a really interesting thing for DAB Plus listeners to just switch back to DAB. History is just the same really, and Kiss Extra, which was Kiss Fresh back in the day, has actually switched over from DAB to DAB Plus. Here are the websites from digitalradiochoice.com. We're going to take a look at them in today's video. The transition from DAB to DAB Plus is primarily driven by the desire to improve audio quality and reduce signal interference. DAB Plus uses a more inefficient audio codec called AAC Plus, which allows for better sound quality and less noise interference, especially in areas outside broadcasting zones. This upgrade also provides more channels on a DAB multiplex, allowing for a broader selection of radio stations. Additionally, DAB Plus supports improved metadata, enhancing the overall listening experience. As a result, many popular radio stations such as Kerrang and Classic FM have already switched to DAB Plus to offer better sounding music and more channels. The BBC has also announced to launch new DAB Plus stations as extensions for its existing radio services. Talk Radio and TalkSport 2 switched to DAB+. Digital talk and sport radio stations Talk Radio and TalkSport 2 are switching from DAB to DAB+ this month. The national radio stations are the latest to switch to the newer DAB+ format. Not all DAB digital radios can receive DAB+ stations, and some listeners may find that they can no longer receive the stations. Talk Radio is currently available in its original DAB format and DAB+ as Talk Radio Plus. The scrolling text on the original version says, "We are moving. Please switch to Talk Radio Plus." On the newer DAB Plus version, the scrolling text says, "Welcome to the new home of Talk Radio." The message is also being broadcast on the station, encouraging listeners to be tuned. The Talk Radio station will be available in its original DAB format until the 26th of June, when only the DAB Plus version will be available. TalkSport 2 is currently broadcasting coverage of horse racing, Bundesliga football, PGA golf, and documentaries. Last week, TalkSport announced that it will broadcast back-to-back football games at 12:30, 3:00, 5:30, and 8:15, and 8:00, when the Premier League fixtures return. Both DAB Plus stations are broadcasting at 32 kilobits a second, having previously been at 64 kilobits a second on DAB. The stations are operated by Wireless, which will launch Times Radio later this month, with the Times and the Sunday Times. The new radio station will broadcast on DAB digital radio. Talk Radio and TalkSport 2 launched in 2016, when several new digital radio stations became available across the UK. Listeners tuning to TalkSport 2 may find the radio tuned automatically, but it may be necessary to perform a retune or a rescan. The original Talk Radio stations are affected by the change. Both stations are still available in apps, on smart speakers, and online. Let's have a look at 4 decade stations to launch this month. New digital radio stations dedicated to music from the 70s, the 80s, 90s, and the noughties will launch at the end of this month. The new stations are Greatest Hits Radio 70s, Greatest Hits Radio 80s, Hits Radio 90s, and Hits Radio Noughties. Greatest Hits Radio 60s is already available on DAB digital radio. The news unveiled today at the Radio Days Europe Conference in Hatfens follows last week's announcement that 4 national stations were switched from DAB to DAB+. The move creates capacity which allows the owner to launch the new stations. Gary Stein, director of audio for Bauer Media Audio UK, said, "We're really excited to launch these 4 new stations and provide more personalised, passion-driven content for our music-loving audiences, while increasing opportunities for our advertising partners to target highly engaged specific audiences." When Greatest Hits Radio 80 launches, listeners will be able to choose from 4 stations playing music from the decade. There will also be 3 stations playing music from the 90s and 2 with music from the 70s. In London, up to 6 1980 stations will be available. Spin-off stations have become a fixture on digital radio, with Heart, Magic, Capital, Radio X, Absolute Radio, Kiss and Smooth Radio all having at least one national brand extension. In recent years, stations have undergone changes to bring them into a parent brand, with Scala Radio and Choice FM becoming parts of the Magic and Capital families. Standalone brands, The Arrow and Chill, also disappeared, with new outlets from Smooth Radio and Radio X appearing. Existing station Kiss Fresh will become Kiss Extra on the same day. You can check it out at digitalradiochoice.com. Yep, it is possible to receive the DAB Plus stations on the radio like a Bush DAB radio. It only picks up the DAB stations. So LBC and TalkSport will not be stopping its broadcasting. Anyway, let's listen to a bit of LBC and then I'm going to pause the video there.
Yes, absolutely. I think it should be going ahead. I think as British Muslims, we should be.
They won't switch to DAB Plus
not only for the
soon.
They'll
They'll just keep it on the DAB multiplex.
That we do have a dialogue between the British government and the Israeli government.
Anyway, thanks for watching this video. If this video was helpful, please give a comment on how you enjoyed it and comment down below if DAB should switch to DAB Plus. Take care. Bye now.